Hello and good morning, it's Vicky Fraser here from Moxie Books. I've got a little writing tip for you today based on a question that one of my Moxie writers from my Power Hour asked the other day, and he was asking about perfectionism and self-editing, because one of the things that writers find most difficult in my experience, and I really struggle with this as well, is editing as you go along, which is just really irritating. It's a massive pain in the ass, and it means that you don't get as much written. It's like a self-censorship, and so you're kind of trying to write and your brain skips up back to something you've just written. You're like, oh, that's not a very good word, or there's a typo there, or that needs a comma, and so you stop what you're doing, you stop your flow of thoughts, you stop your flow of words, and you go back and you correct this thing that really doesn't matter, and it's something that you'll pick up in one of the subsequent edits that you're going to do, one of the reads that you're going to do. So how do we stop doing that? There isn't really an easy answer other than practice, which I know is something that people aren't going to want to hear. But there are a couple of things that you can try. This doesn't work for me, but I know it works for some people, so give it a try. You can stick a piece of paper over your screen so that you can't actually see what you're typing. I'm too much of a control freak, I think, for that to work for me. But give it a go, it might work for you. Another thing that you can do is set a timer and be like, I'm going to write for 10 minutes straight, and I'm not allowed, literally just going to write, because that's not, for most people, that's not an enormous amount of writing, so it's not like you'll get to the end of the 10 minutes and be like, I've got reams and reams of typo-ridden stuff to go back and correct. So try setting a timer. If 10 minutes doesn't work for you, try 5. And you're like, right, I've got to write for 5 minutes. I'm not allowed to go back and correct anything. And it's just a little bit less daunting than having to write for, say, an hour or something. But the main thing that you need to do is practice, because this self-editing comes from perfectionism, from this really ridiculous and arrogant need for all of the words that you put down on paper to be absolutely perfect the first time you put them down. And, when we sit and think about that, we realise how ridiculous it is, and also how arrogant it is. It's like there is no writer in the world that can put perfect words down on a page first time. It just doesn't happen. So why would we think that we can do that? It's just another example of our brains being marvellous and ridiculous things. And to remember that, you've got to get comfortable with the shitty first draft, and you've got to practice, because practice isn't just good for physical stuff like writing or playing a musical instrument or doing trapeze or whatever. Practice, that kind of physical practice is great, but we forget about the mental practice of reminding ourselves it's okay to screw up, and it's okay to produce a shitty first draft. In fact, we have to produce a shitty first draft if we ever want to produce anything that's any good, because in the history of everything that is great, there was a time when it was total shit, because that's the way these things work. So get really comfortable with the shitty first draft if you want to write well. Give yourself permission to screw up. Remind yourself that you're never going to get it right first time. Nobody does. Write it out in big letters and stick it somewhere where you will see it every day, and say it out loud to yourself. It's okay to screw up. I'm embracing the shitty first draft. I'm not going to self-edit as I go along, because it's self-censorship. That's what it is. It's like your brain going, I'm not good enough. I'm not what I'm thinking and what I'm saying is not good enough, so I'm going to stop myself from doing it by correcting that little comma there, which really doesn't matter. So I hope that helps. And if you want to improve your writing, you should totally come and join my Moxie Writers Power Hour. We've just had one this morning. They're Monday morning, Wednesday morning, and Friday morning, 7 a.m. UK time. I am going to be putting more sessions on in the future, but for now it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's an hour's live writing. It starts off with a little, we'll share our goals. I will read out a couple of people's goals, including my own. What do I want to achieve this session? I will start a timer. We'll do an hour's writing, and you'll be amazed at how much you get done. Honestly, I've got so many comments about how much work people are doing. It's really great. And then at the end, I will either answer a question, like the one that I've just answered, or I will give you a writing tip or something, and we'll go through, I'll read out a few people's achievements, what they've achieved, all the rest of it, and then we'll say goodbye and come back a couple of days later. And you can be smug for the rest of the day, because you'll have done more before 8 a.m. than a lot of people get done in an entire morning. How cool is that? So you can go to moxiebooks.co.uk/power hour, and hopefully I'll see you there next week.